Hello faithful viewers and welcome back to another review. This time we're looking at the Star Wars The Black Series, Koska Reeves. Now who is Koska Reeves? Well, you would best know her from The Mandalorian. She is played by Sasha Banks, or Mercedes Venado if you will, and she's basically Bo-Katan's second in command, I suppose. She's the other Mandalorian that you see hanging around with Bo-Katan in the show basically. She's an original character to that show, hasn't appeared in any other Star Wars media at all, to be honest. So before we have a look at her figure, let's have a quick look at her box. So just put her to the side. I really do like the modern Black Series packaging. I do have a soft spot for the old versions, where they had like the red trim to them and the red background, but the new stuff is really nice as well. So your standard common Black Series box now with the window there, you can see there is a Westar pistol in there as well. She actually does come with two, but can only really utilise one. Koska Reeves on the bottom there, some nice artwork on the side, and then on the back you've got that. A master of hand-to-hand combat, Koska Reeves is loyal to Bo-Katan and is a member of the band of Clan Kree's Mandalorians, striking back at the Imperial Remnant. And nothing there, and that's that. So the first big elephant in the room that we've got to address with this figure is she is basically a remold of the Bo-Katan figure that came before her. And while that's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just a little bit disappointing because Koska has a different body type to Bo in the show. She's a little bit thinner, so I don't really think the reuse of this mold, the one-to-one reuse that it is, really benefits the character. It doesn't portray her as accurately as it could, but that said, it's a decent enough representation of her. They are using the modern day kind of facial scan thing that they do now just to get the best likeness to the actor, and it is a very decent likeness to Mercedes. Brown skin, you've got kind of this braided hair thing going on with this very interesting crisscross pattern going across her forehead. Standard blue Mandalorian armor, again it's the same as Bo, just repainted. It's not actually that accurate to the show itself because it should be a darker shade of blue. It's a bit too bright, a bit too light for the figure, so a bit of a shame, but whatever. It is broken up thankfully with jots of silver here and there. You've got some battle damage on the front chest which just helps break up the mundane blue as well. Again, you've got the whistling bird kind of thing there with the main silver and like a bronzy gold kind of tip. You've got night owl symbols on her pauldrons there. You've got kind of like the standard Mando jetpack, just a dull grey with bits of blue highlight there. Coming down, you've got her utility belt with one gun holster there, which is accurate to the show, and I don't know why she comes with two guns. And then coming down to the base of the figure, I mean, you can see there's some little battle damage on the shin guards there as well, and then the boots are kind of like a maroony brown kind of colour going on there, which just helps break up the grey of the bodysuit. So overall detail is pretty good. Koska's just colour scheme in terms of our armour though is a bit mundane because unlike Bo, who has various different colours, be it silver and blue and like the clay kind of belt, Koska's whole look is just primarily this one colour, so it's not the most appealing armour in the world, and just I'm thankful that there are at least attempts to help break it up with the bits of battle damage and silver that run through it. Now, one little thing I do want to note about my copy of the figure, and I really hope that this isn't a common thing, is her forefinger on this hand is hanging on by a literal thread. There is like a defect in the mould here. If we just try and get the gun out of her hand as carefully as we can and try and show you, you'll hopefully be able to see, if you look roughly there, just how thin that is. And I'm very concerned if I continue to take the gun in and out of that hand, that finger is going to snap off. So buyer beware. Hopefully it's just an isolated case of my figure. If we have a very quick look at the Westar gun that she comes with, it is precisely the same as Bo-Katan's. There is no difference here whatsoever. Grey barrel, brown handle, very basic, and just slots into the holster nice and snuggly. It's not going to come out. It is a very tight fit. And again, she comes with a second one, but there's nowhere to put it. Koska's helmet is also a downgrade from Bo-Katan's, just in the fact that it is all this one single blue. There is some nice battle damage on the front, again, just to help break it up, but it doesn't excuse the fact that it's just a bit boring. Fits over her head, doesn't hinder articulation in the slightest, which we'll get onto in a moment. She's capable of full head articulation with it on, and unlike Sabine's, it's not a pain in the arse to get on and off. It's just so easy, so simple, good moulding. And the rangefinder as well is articulated just like all the other Mandalorians out there, so you can pull off some interesting shots. Before we get onto articulation, I just want to make a note about posability. It sucks. It really does. And it's not a Koska issue specifically. It's a Bo issue. It's a mould issue in general. And it's because the feet are relatively small compared to everything else that's going on up here. I mean, you've got a jetpack for starters, a removable jetpack, mind you, but that doesn't really help stability at all. Trying to get her into poses is fine, but trying to keep her in poses while stood on the shelf is difficult. So that's one little negative I have against not specifically this figure, but the mould in general. So if we do look at articulation then, her head can rotate 360 degrees. She can look up good amount and look down a good amount as well. At the shoulders, there is this soft rubber lip here, so try and get the shoulder pads just underneath it and you can achieve a good wide berth like that. It is a ball joint, so you've got 360 degrees of rotation at the shoulder. At the elbow, you've also got 360 degrees of rotation, plus you have a 90-degree bend on a hinge like that. And then in terms of the wrists, they can both swivel 360 degrees, and then they can both bend up and down. But again, advise caution I do regarding that, just because they're very tight, and in terms of action figures, these bits can break. In terms of the abs, you can bend back about that far, and then bend forward about that far. The legs spread pretty decent. Forward kick is good forward kick there. Back kick is also pretty good. Upper leg, you've got rotation about that far round and about that far round the other way, just because these pieces do get in the way. Unlike some of my other Black Series figures, this Koska here is not hindered in terms of this rotation. Like Sabine, for example, on one leg free moving and on the other very difficult to move. In terms of the knee, she has about a 90-degree bend, maybe just over 90 degrees. There is a 360 rotation at the knees as well. And then in terms of ankle, you have pivot from side to side, and then you've also got up and down, just like that. Overall articulation is very good. It's just getting her to stand in poses is troublesome. So here is Koska with Bo-Katan, and let's be honest, I do think Bo is the superior figure. She's just got a cooler paint scheme about her. The silver really pops more than the blue, and it's complemented by the lighter shade of blue and kind of like the earthy clay colours of the belt and the highlights up there. Koska, unfortunately, it's just this one plain colour, and while the battle damage is nice to help break it up, it is just a bit boring. Then for further comparisons, here is Sabine Wren rocking her Season 1 look from Star Wars Rebels. Here is Transformers Prime First Edition RC, who is a bit more reflective of the shade of blue Koska's armour really should be. And then, of course, here is good old Mysterio to finish off the comparisons. So there we go, that has been our look at the Black Series Koska Reeves. I feel like I've just been a bit indifferent to her during this entire review, and it's a little bit of a shame because I don't mean to be, because she's a solid enough figure. She really is. She looks good, but my issue mainly comes with the fact that she's a remold of Bo-Katan, and I honestly think there would have been a higher incentive to buy this if she were an original mold, if she had a completely new, I suppose, body to her, if proportionally she was a bit more in line with Sabine, I think it would suit her a little bit better. I can understand probably why they've chosen to go down the remold route, cost cutting, but alas, what can you do? I think the Bo figure just stands out a little bit more also, mainly because of the colour scheme. This entire blue colour that's going on here, it's a bit boring, it's not broken apart, it's not as interesting as the silver blue and clay kind of combo that Bo has going on. I do still recommend her, however, because she is ultimately a solid representation of the character, and it's nice to have her on the shelf. She looks cool, especially with the helmet off. The head sculpt, brilliant, lovely. The hair, everything that's going on here, fabulous, love it. Just the Bo figure ultimately is superior due to the paint, and it's a better suit of this mould. Thank you everybody so much for stopping by and checking out this video. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and share it around to help out the channel. And until the next time, see you all later.